Good morning everyone. So far we have covered about 15 lectures in this crop production technology course. Today we are going to see about 16th lecture, Bersim and Larsen, origin, geographical distribution, economic importance, soil and climatic requirements and cultivation practices, yields of these crops. Okay, these are, before moving to this topic, this belongs to the forage crops, right? Forage and fodder crops. Let's see Bersim crop production technology. Here you can see the crop behind this Bersim. Okay, this is the Bersim crop, and let's see the botanical classification of Bersim. Commonly we can call it as Bersim, and English name is Egyptian clover. Scientific name Trifolium alexandrinum. Other species of this Bersim are white clover, subterranean clover, red clover, crimson clover. These are different species of this Bersim crop, and it belongs to Leguminaceae family, or we can also say it as Fabaceae family. Okay, Bersim or Egyptian clover. Let's move to the introduction of this Bersim crop. Bersim or Egyptian clover, Trifolium alexandrinum, is popularly known as king of fodder crops. This will be asked as in many competitive exams also, which is popularly known as king of fodder crops. You can say it as Bersim crop. For irrigated conditions of northern India, because it is available for 6 to 7 months from November to May. It gives about 4 to 6 cuts during winter, spring and early summer seasons, and provides nutrition, and it's been a succulent crop and palatable forage for milch animals, yielding up to liters of milk can be maintained with the little supplement of concentrate mixture of this Bersim crop. The green forage can also be converted into excellent hay and utilized for enrichment of poor quality roughagages like cudbeas and straw. Besides, Bersim has got a soil building characters and improves the physical, chemical and biological properties of the soil, which resulting in better growth and yield of crops in rotation. Not only this, the crop is very important for the viewpoint of conservation farming and important and imparts sustainability to soil productivity and crop production system as a whole. We can say this Bersim will be useful in many ways for the farmers. Even if we give little amount of Bersim to the cattle, milch cattle, it will give good amount of which having high protein content of the milk, so that we can use this Bersim as a feed for cattle, right? Trifolium alexandrinum is an annual leguminous fodder crop. The most suitable fodder crops for areas below 1700 meter altitude with irrigation facilities. It remains soft and succulent at all stages of growth. It can be grown without irrigation in areas with high water table and under waterlogged conditions. It is indigenous to Egypt area. It is indigenous to Egypt. Before going to economic importance, let's see its distribution and origin of this. I haven't mentioned here, so take a note that, as I said, its origin is Syria, and it was introduced into Egypt in 6th century, into India in the 19th century, and into Pakistan also. Okay, let's see, it has been one of the fastest spreading fodder species in recent times, mainly under small scale farming conditions. Cultivated areas reached up to 1.3 million hectares in 2007 in Egypt. And if we see it in India, it reached 1.9 million hectares in India in year 2012. It has been stated by ICAR. Morocco adopted Bersim in the beginning of the 20th century, and 50,000 hectares were grown under irrigated in 2005. We can say Bersim is mainly valued as a winter crop in the subtropics, as it grows well in mild winter and recovers strongly after cutting. It does not grow well under hot summer conditions. It is cultivated from 35 degrees north to the tropics. from sea level up to 750 m. If we see berseem has some frost tolerance, we can say that berseem is a frost tolerant crop down to -6 degrees centigrade and as low as -15 degrees centigrade for some cultivars. Berseem can grow in areas where annual rainfall ranges between 550 mm and 750 mm also. It also can withstand some drought and short periods of waterlogging. It does better than alfalfa in alfalfa is a crop like this berseem, okay, in high moisture soils and is very productive under irrigation. It is moderately tolerant of salinity and can grow on a wide range of soils, though it prefers fertile loamy to clay soils with mild acid to slightly alkalic with pH range of 6.5 to 8. This we can say distribution of berseem crop in various regions with different climatic conditions. Okay, let's move to the economic importance. With this economic importance, it can be used in various forms as a grazing crop, as a haying crop, and as a silage crop. Let's see what were the identities of these three different types of berseem uses. Okay, as a grazing crop, berseem clover needs a relatively weed-free, firm seed bed for optimum germination. It does best under rotational grazing and must be grazed before its flowers. Before flowering stage only we have to leave the cattle for grazing. If not, we are going to lose its potential. Okay, it should not be grazed to less than 3 inches. It provides palatable and nutritious forage with a high relative feed value. The crude protein is equivalent or slightly higher than alfalfa. I have mentioned before also, it is slightly higher than alfalfa with the amount of 18 to 28%. If we are going to raise this crop as a haying crop, berseem clover is excellent choice for haying. It should be sown in the spring with a nurse crop. Plants should be cut at 10 to 15 inch height when new shoots appear at the bottom of the stem. The first cutting will be 50 to 60 days after planting, when companion crop has added out, and the second will be 45 to 50 days later. Okay, it must be cut before it flowering. As like a grazing crop, it also should be cut before its flowering and should not be cut lower than 3 inches. When planted with a nurse crop, it can be taken all together for silage or chopped and allowed to regrow. Okay, we can use it as silage crop when we are going to grow this crop with nurse crop. If we are going to raise berseem as a silage crop, it can be mixed with 20% ground maize to provide high quality silage. It is possible to make silage with berseem, and 5% molasses can also be used as cover crops, soil improver and erosion control. We can also use this crop for weed control. Many purposes we are going to use this berseem crop in our fields, which also improve our soil fertility content. It reduces erosion and it improves the soil. It can be used as cover crops and weed control. It also helpful in weed controlling. Okay, now moving to climate and soil requirement of this crop. Berseem is adapted to cool and moderately cold climate. Such conditions prevail during winter and spring seasons in North India, which is considered as favorable and productive zone for this crop. If we see the optimum temperature at the time of sowing, berseem requires 25 degrees centigrade. For exuberant vegetative growth, temperature required of about 25 degrees centigrade to 27 degrees centigrade. It has been found ideal for vegetative growth. Uniform high temperature in South Indian conditions limits the cultivation of berseem. Okay, if we see that raising this berseem in south regions, the cultivation will be limited. It means maybe yield also gets reduced due to high temperatures. It prefers dry and cool climate. Okay, if we see the season, it's mostly preferable during Rabi season and sown in the month of October to November. All soils with mild with mild cold winter. It grows well in medium to heavy soil, which is tolerant to alkali clay loam soil, which is rich in calcium and phosphorus. Soil must be well drained. Okay, not only that, well drained clay to clay loamy soils rich in humus, calcium and phosphorus are suitable for good crop of berseem. However, it can be grown on sandy loam soil, but it requires frequent irrigations. Comparatively, heavy textured soil considered better due to greater water retaining capacity and congenial aerobic environments for crop persistency. These were the requirements for climate soil for raising the berseem crop. Now moving to seed and sowing of berseem crop. Sowing should be done by broadcasting the seed at the rate of 25 kg per hectare in standing water is required. The seed should be free from seeds of wheat such as kasni. If we see the kasni seeds, it will be similar to the berseem, which will be mixed with the berseem seeds, which reduces the yield when it's grown up to its potential. Okay, this can be done by dipping the seeds. We can reduce the kasni seeds by dipping the seeds in 1% of salt solution, and when it's going to be dipped in that salt solution, it's going to be floated and it can be taken off from the water. Okay, mixture of berseem and oats 50:50 ratio also gives higher yield. Under alternative conditions, seedling should be done 8 to 10 days before harvesting of paddy. It gives good results for raising berseem crop. If you see the seed rate, 20 to 25 kg per hectare is needed for sowing. Spacing is about 25 centimeters apart by drilling and then plant. When we have to sow this berseem crop? During October to November. With the method of broadcasting, we are going to sow these seeds of berseem. Before going to the nutrient management, let's see the cropping system in this berseem crop. I haven't mentioned it, take a note on this. Berseem finds its place in different cropping system in the following ways. There are 3 different cropping systems which I am going to say now. That is, first one, in sequential cropping system with annual grain crops. Repeating again, in sequential cropping system with annual grain crops. Second, in overlapping cropping system with perennial grasses. In overlapping cropping system with perennial grasses. Third one, in parallel cropping system with rabi grain crops. Third one, in parallel cropping system with rabi grain crops. If we see the first 2 cases, it means sequential cropping system with annual grain crops, and in overlapping cropping system with perennial grain crops. In these two cases, it is going to be intensive forest production system in milk shade areas to meet the forest requirement around the year. Around the year we can get the forest content, forest yield for feeding the cattle. These systems are adapted on specialized dairy farms to harvest green nutritious forests with twin objectives of why we are going to raise for getting stabilizing milk production over the periods, reducing the concentrate mixture on animal ration. Okay, and economizing on use of fertilizer nitrogen in cropping systems. For getting these 3 objectives, we are going to follow the first 2 sequences mostly. The third system may be adopted by small farmers who intend to produce mostly for food and forest concurrently from the limited land area. In this system, 2 approaches could be applied. We have seen 3 objectives from that first 2 sequences. In this third sequence, we are going to see 2 objectives, that are association cropping in space and time, grain and forest cropping in proportionate area. These 2 objectives are going to be met by this third sequence. However, berseem in intensive forest cropping system offers the following advantage. Okay, there are growing of berseem ensures effective utilization of land during dormant phase of perennial grass component. Combination cropping of berseem and grasses helps in balanced utilization of plant nutrients from different soil depths. Bersim improves physical, chemical, and biological properties of soil and thus improves its fertility status. Bersim provides nitrogen nutrition to companion grasses, which are going to be grown along with that on one hand, and cowpea is grown on residual phosphate fertility of bersim on other hand. Simultaneously, it was going to be beneficial. Thus, there is considerably saving of fertilizer nutrients because they were going to produce nitrogen content in the soil. Bersim in winter act as live mulch and protects the grass tussocks from damage by prone age by providing moist soil conditions. Not only that, intercropping perennial grasses with forage legumes has been reported to reduce anti-quality constituents like oxalates in hybrid Napier, besides providing balanced and nutritious herbage to animals also. There is almost continuous flow of green forage throughout the year from the same piece of land, which is important for farmers with small size of holding, so that it will be useful for economically for the farmers who are having less amount of field. Okay, this was about the cropping system in bersim crop. Let us moving to cultivation practices. Here we are going to prepare land preparation first. I have mentioned here for land preparation. Here we are going to take the land should be perfectly level to obtain even distribution of irrigated water and to avoid water stagnation. To avoid the water stagnation, we are going to level the field and distribute irrigation water in equal level. Okay, bersim can also grown in saline sodic soils if soil concentration is not allowed to accumulate above certain critical level. Even we can grow the soils in saline soils if the accumulated content is not above the critical level. Through field flooding and leaching to provide optimum conditions for seed germination and crop establishment. If it was above the critical level, we are going to flood the field and we are going to leach the field to provide optimum conditions for seed germination and crop establishment. Once established, the crop can tolerate fair amount of salt concentration. Moreover, rice bersim rotation is recommended to reclaim such soils as these crops require frequent and heavy irrigations, which cause considerable leaching of salts from root. If you are going to prepare nursery preparation, before you have seen that land preparation, I have said some few points about that. If you are going to prepare nursery preparation, then we have to prepare seed bed. For that, the land should be opened with soil inversion plough followed by 2 or 3 operations by desi plough or cultivator. The preparation of good seed bed is an essential component of cultivation practices to obtain desired level of tilth. Okay, first we have to do soil inversion plough. With the help of soil inversion plough, we have to turn the soil, and after that 2 or 3 operations by desi plough or cultivator is done. The preparation of good seed bed is essential component of cultivation practices to obtain desired level of tilth. Fine seed bed is required, especially when bersim is to be grown as seed crop in rows without puddling to facilitate weed removal and rowing for quality seed production. When the crop is to be sown in puddle beds, through cultivation is not required, only cross harrowing or ploughing are needed to remove established weeds, stubbles of the previous crop, and to open the soil for leveling by planking. We can remove the weeds or any stubbles present in that by leveling and planking in that area. Okay, this is about the seed bed preparation in nursery. Now moving to nutrient management. Let's see the fertilizer schedule in this bersim crop. In irrigated farming, fertilizer use is the most important factor influencing growth and productivity of the crops. Since bersim is a leguminous crop, it needs less nitrogen from fertilizer sources because its root nodules contains Rhizobium trifoli bacteria. as it belongs to the leguminous crops, it already fixed the nitrogen in the soil, okay, as it contains Rhizobium trifoliate bacteria which fix atmospheric nitrogen for plant use. Therefore, fertilizer nitrogen is required only for establishment prior to the formation of root nodules. Just before emerging only it requires, okay. Experimental evidences have proved that 20 kg of nitrogen per hectare at sowing is the optimum dose is required. When the crop is raised on poor soils without inoculums, top dressing of 10 kg of nitrogen per hectare is done after each cut in addition to 30 kg of nitrogen per hectare basal dose to encourage good regeneration and quick growth with high yield is preferable, okay. In general, the responses to applied phosphorus vary widely with available soil phosphorus, soil pH, phosphate sources, application method, water supply and crop duration. With all these responses, we are going to place the phosphorus in the vicinity of root zone is desirable to reduce its fixation and to increase availability to young seedling. Placement of phosphorus has been found superior to broadcast in terms of forage yields and phosphorus uptake. In general, the crop responds significantly up to 80 to 90 kg of phosphorus per hectare, okay. As the requirement of phosphorus is especially critical at initial crop stage, basal requirement proved better than top dressing. The potassium requirement of Bersim has been found to be 30 to 40 kg potassium per hectare in low potassium soils, okay. If there is any deficiency in potassium, then it requires about 30 to 40 kg of potassium per hectare in low potassium soils. Let's see the irrigation requirements. Here, Bersim requires huge quantity of water for producing high succulent biomass. For every kilogram of plant dry matter produced, as much as 500 kilograms of more or water may be necessary in a dry climate, okay. Therefore, adequate and timely water supply is one of the basic inputs for obtaining potential crop yield, which necessitates precise knowledge of irrigation techniques and approaches in Bersim crop. On the basis of irrigation investigation at IGFRI, Jhansi over the years amassed the following useful information on irrigation management of Bersim. As many scientists have done experiments on this Bersim crop with the utilization of water, they have stated that, take a note on this, make it 2 columns. First, in the first column, take side heading as parameter, and the second column information. In parameters, first one is about optimum soil moisture regime in top 45 cm soil depth. Repeating again, the first one is about optimum soil moisture regime in top 45 cm soil depth. In the information column, write it as 75% available soil moisture. 75% available soil moisture. The second one, irrigation intervals. Irrigation intervals. In the information column, write it as 10 to 12 days interval. We have to 10 to 12 days. And in third column, and in third one, in parameter, number of irrigations required. Number of irrigations required. In information, you have to write 16 to 18. 16 to 18. Fourth one, irrigation requirement. Irrigation requirement. In information column, 710 mm. 710 mm. Fifth one, in parameter, water use efficiency. Water use efficiency. In information column, write it as 22 kg dry matter per hectare per mm. 22 kg dry matter per hectare per mm. Okay, this was the experiment done in Jhansi in IGFRI. This was the parameters they have found, how it's going to be useful and how many irrigations are required for good production of Bersim crop. On the basis of soil type and normal climatic condition, the following irrigation schedules are recommended in different seasons and soils. Here also take a note. Make 2 columns. First column season and second column soil type. In first column write season and in second column soil type. In season, first one October to February. October to February. In soil type, again you have to make 2 columns. Make 2 columns. First column in soil type clay and clay loam soil. Clay and clay loam soil. And in second column loamy soil. Loam soil. Okay. As I said, in first season October to February, in clay and loam soil write it as 14 to 16 days interval. 14 to 16 days interval. And in loam soil 12 to 14 days interval. 12 to 14 days interval. In season second March to April. March to April. In clay and clay loam soil write it as 10 to 12 days interval. 10 to 12 days interval. And in loam soil write it as 8 to 10 days interval. 8 to 10 days interval. Okay, this was the water management schedule required for Bersim crop. And before moving to disease and control, let's see the weed control practices which are required for Bersim crop. The weed management is one of the vital components of Bersim production. The major associated weed of Bersim crop is chicory, Chicorium incibus. The nature of weed is such that it infests from field to seed and vice versa. Like that, it's going to be moved in a circular form, and it can be removed. Okay, the intensity of field infestations could be minimized by treating with 10% salt solution and deep summer plowing with soil inversion plow after final harvest of the crop. I have also said before in seed and sowing that we have to treat the seeds with 10% of soil solution. Okay, now we are going to see about the disease and its control. During the month of December and January, when the crop attains luxuriant vegetative growth and cloudy days persist for longer period, at that time the heavy infestation of fungal diseases such as root rot, which is caused by Rhizoctonia solani, and Fusarellum smithactum, and stem rot, which is caused by Sclerotinia triflorium will be caused. What I have mentioned here, first one is root rot, which is caused by Rhizoctonia solani. Second one Fusarellum smithactum. Okay, and stem rot, which is caused by Sclerotinia triflorium. If crop is cut, the fungal growth in patches can be easily be seen. As rot in stubbles, it has been observed that the problem is more acute under the following situation. When the field is heavily manured with undecomposed farmyard manure and or irrigated with sewage water, then the crop is going to be affected more. Water stagnated creation, damp conditions. Okay, light penetration at the ground is curtailed due to delayed cutting. Cloudy conditions prevail for longer period. For controlling of this disease, we are going to do some agronomical approaches are to be done, that are avoiding the growing of Bersim crop in the same field year after year. We have to follow the crop rotation without growing the same crop year after year continuously, and deep plowing during summer is required. Usually well rotten manure in proper quantity also reduce this instance of this disease. Fertilizing the crop with heavy dose of potassium. Leveling field properly to avoid water stagnation. Avoiding too frequent irrigations during cloudy days. Cutting the crop frequently to expose the ground for adequate light availability. Okay, so that when we are going to cut the crop and expose to the sun, the ground for adequate light availability, then we can reduce this disease. Let's see the pest management here. If we see the pest in Bersim crop, mostly grasshopper and gram caterpillar will cause more damage for the Bersim crop. If you see the grasshopper, it damages crop by eating leaves. It occurs mostly in May-June month. If infestation is observed, spray crop with malathion 50 EC at the rate of 500 ml in 80 to 100 liters of water per acre. After spraying, do not feed cattle for 7 days. If we see the gram caterpillar, avoid raising of crop nearby tomato or gram lates on wheat. If we avoid raising berseem crop besides this crop, then we can reduce this pest in that field. If infestation is observed, spray with chlorantraniliprole 18.5 SL at rate of 50 ml or spinosad 48 SC at rate of 60 ml per acre in 80 to 100 liter of water with help of knapsack sprayer is preferable. Repeating again, if we observe the pest infestation in the field, we can use chlorantraniliprole 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 18.5 SL at the rate of 50 ml or spinosad 48 SC at the rate of 60 ml per acre in 80 to 100 liters of water with help of knapsack sprayer is going to be preferred. Okay, for harvesting, we can see the forest quality. Berseem is highly nutritious, which is succulent and palatable forest for all types of livestock. It stimulates milk production of cows and buffaloes and is popular both for milch and draught animals. Berseem is a good source of crude protein, calcium, phosphorus and ether extract. The green forage of berseem on dry matter basis contains of about 17 to 20% CP, 40 to 49% neutral detergent fiber and 35 to 38% acid detergent fiber, 24 to 25% cellulose and 7 to 10% hemicellulose content in the berseem crop. This is the forest quality in general. Okay, cutting management and forage yield. How we are going to cut the crop? Forage yield potential of berseem crop is very high. The crop is capable of producing 1000 to 1200 quintal per hectare of green forage under improved agronomic management practices. How much we are going to receive the yield? 1000 to 1200 quintal per hectare of green forage under improved agronomic management practices, and favorable weather conditions are going to be preferable. Mixing Japan grape or Chinese cabbage at the rate of 2.25 kg per hectare increases the yield by 20 to 25% in first cut. Okay, by mixing Japan grape or Chinese cabbage at the rate of 2.25 kg per hectare increases the yield by 20 to 25% in first cut. Okay, the yield may further be increased by introducing early cutting. If you are going to cut the forage, then we can increase the yield content. Okay, the first cutting is obtained usually at 60 days after sowing and subsequent cutting at the interval of 25 to 30 days. If we see in middle hill zone during winter, interval between cutting is about 50 to 60 days. In all, 5 to 6 cuttings may be obtained. On an average, nearly 550 quintals of green fodder per hectare may be obtained. If we see green fodder, 60 to 80 tons per hectare per year is going to be obtained. If we see the seed yield, it will receive about 30 to 300 to 500 kg per hectare is going to be the yield in case of seed yield. These were about some of the cultivation practices about the berseem crop. If you are going to use agronomic practices regularly in effective manner, we can receive more amount of yield contents in this berseem crop.